Hey, good morning everyone. Welcome back to the Carter James Ranch out here at Redemption. Actually continuing to put in rock skirts. As we mentioned in a previous video, we like to put the rock skirts near the dam just because typically the water's going to be deepest over on the dam side. On this pond, I actually thought about putting it over there, but obviously that's where the majority of the water runs into this pond off of that hillside. So we'll have a lot of water coming down there, or filtering its way down through there. And plus, now that we've done a few of these, just because of the angle of that would have been a really long skirt, so we have to move a lot of water, or a lot of dirt. And the more dirt we have to move, the more difficult the skirt becomes and the more rock you need to have. So, anyhow, I also want to point out, I'll show you a couple things we're working on fixing long term. So you can see this pipe here has either rusted out or been broken off. And this is the pipe that goes to the dam and exits out down over here. We have another pipe that I'll show you that where at some point we're gonna have to break the dam to fix, but you know, this could have rusted out over time, but this also could have been broken by cattle standing on that. You can tell cattle have been walked down here. You know, cattle have eroded this dam. This is what happens when you allow your animals to come into the pond. On the backside here, you can tell this has been a walk area, walking trail. And then also when it rains, you get heavy rains, you get water starting to erode this. So just lots of problems arise when cattle have free access to these ponds. Here's a look at all these walk downs, water starting to run, another trail. So then at some point it just breaks it, and then you got to spend some real money to rebuild them. So it just makes a lot of sense, a little extra work to keep them out of here. So I think Skylar's getting ready to break the barrier over here, so water will come rushing in. Pretty interesting to watch all these skirts come in. He digs down, we get an angle, he sets up some base rock out there a little ways, and then so he can go out on it, and then he breaks the barrier and starts hauling that mud out, all the dirt, and then water comes rushing in. And once we get over here, you can already see a little water's coming in. So we like to have a good base right down there at the bottom. He levels it out, and he's kind of got to build himself a pier out there so we can go out there and start hauling all that dirt out of there. The last thing we need is for him to get out there and to get stuck. So he builds himself a pier and starts hauling that out, and then he'll dump more rock into the water, which here we go. We're gonna get a big scoop of. I always get nervous when he does this, hoping he doesn't go over the edge. This one, man, usually he builds himself a bigger pier. Yeah, he might take less, I don't know. Too big of too much dirt, pretty heavy with all that water in there as well. I think he might have gotten a little nervous on that one. Yeah, gotta get some more big rock out there. That's why you gotta have a pier. Give ourselves a chance to rip all that out. Built that pier out there. Now we pull the muck and the water out. Now what's hard when we have what you just saw with all that water coming out, that's hard when we have such an angle down. It gets a little bumpy because we don't want to get this all muddy, so that just destroys it more. But now you can see water starting to run in here, and as he goes up and back and forth, he's going to be pushing this down, compressing this rock into the ground. And also what we're trying to do is we're trying to get this a little deep so this will hold more water, so we can push rock out there, so when the cattle walk out they'll have access to good amount of water, so it's not too thin. Thin meaning so it's not too shallow. Man, equipment makes a job. So I bet you he'll probably try to get one more load out of that, the right side over there, and then we'll start smoothing this out and throwing the rest of this rock back up the rock skirt, and we'll be done. So now his machine is fully out into the pond where it used to be, and this pond is down from the pipe about 8 inches, so when it fills up, this water will creep back up that rock skirt, which will be good. Plus, the more he drives on that, and once the cattle get here, it's going to start sinking down in a little bit, so it'll compress. Now he's got a really heavy load there. I would be shocked. I'm actually thinking he might be in trouble here. He might have taken off more than he can chew. Yeah, I think he overstepped his pier, but we'll see. Part of the problem is the water that comes up in there just makes it so... Water makes it so difficult to lift. So now he's using the bucket to inch himself back out. So what's actually pretty difficult about this is once the water gets a little murky, it's kind of difficult to see how far out your rock is. So you really got to have a feel. But that's how we're building these rock skirts. Really happy with how they're turning out. So we're on the home stretch here, trying to get as much life out of this pond before we can make it pretty again. Hopefully many years down the road. You know, because here's the thing. Water is really important, but you just got to maintain these things. I mean, this is just it's ugly looking. It'll work for now, but we just need to make sure we preserve it as best we can. All right, here's the final product on this pond. So I don't like it when the big rocks are exposed like this, but that's okay. We can figure it out. So we'll be able to put our hot wires on each side. This comes out here 3 or 4 feet into the pond, and then we still got a little more ways to go. And what's nice is now the dirt has settled. You can actually see how far out the rock is, and so yeah, I mean we can put our posts just, I don't know, a foot or two out there, run them across, and we got 8 inches of water they can drink out of. So real good. We'll preserve this pond for a while. This is the rock skirt that we did on a different pond, and I'm showing you this to this was a mistake that I made in picking the wrong spots. Now we still have a little more work to do. We need more rock. Part of the problem with this positioning is so much dirt had to be moved out of here to make this approach flat. And so yeah, we already went through 30 tons of rock, 15 tons of small rock, and 15 tons of big rock. But what I actually do like about this skirt actually goes all the way out to where those poles are. So you can see walking out here, we got a pretty decent base, and it goes out quite a ways. So what I can do is I can run my hot wire right across here where they have access to it, and if this pond ever goes really low, that skirt goes out there quite a ways. So as the water rescinds back, we can go out there a little bit. So this one didn't turn out as good. This is one of the early ones we did. If I was going to redo this again, I would not do it here kind of in the middle of the pond. I would have done it over in that corner, and I'll show you. I'll go over there and I'll show you why. So just as I'm walking over there, you can see how much dirt we had to pull out of there. I mean, there's all kinds of, on these older properties, there's all kinds of junk that comes out of these things. But I hate having these huge piles of dirt. Now we actually did use some of this dirt for a pipe situation that I'll show you here in a minute, but don't like having all this stuff. That's a lot of dirt to remove just to put in a rock skirt. Okay, this would have been a better spot. The dam shoots across here. Kind of doing something right over in this corner would have been a lot better, because we could have taken this down real easy, and this would have been nice and deep, which is what we've been going for on all the skirts. So again, you live and learn. We'll use that. Who knows, maybe at some point we'll put another one in over here, but not now. We're just trying to get to where we can use these ponds, and we're hopefully going to get the cattle out here in the next week or two. So yeah, pick the right spot on your ponds, put in the rock skirt. And the two main criteria for me are pick an area where the water is pretty deep, and typically that's close to the dam. You obviously don't want to do it in the dam because that weakens the dam. And then do it in an area where you don't have to remove a lot of dirt for access. This would have been really perfect, because all we would have had to do is really take out this big hump and maybe a little bit of that hump, and we could have smoothed this out and then gone right down. And you can tell, I'm not sure if the camera picks it up, but this goes pretty deep pretty quick, so it would be great for watering cattle. All right, this is the next pond in succession where we put a rock skirt in. Don't love, this is one of the early ones. So I showed you to start the video some of the more recent ones that we did that turned out really well. You know, there was a learning curve to some of this. For me, I know what I want it to be, but sometimes telling an operator, and then even them learning, even for Skylar learning how to do it, it just takes a little bit of practice. So, you know, at some point I need to probably, you know, what he did here is there was a pretty big ridge here, so we broke that down. But, you know, I don't love that just with the exposed dirt. And I don't really want to, we could put rock over it, but we might just put some grass seed or hay on it. But again, overall worked out okay. I don't love having these, because this will just break down over time and dirt can run into the rock, and then that kind of makes the skirt not as effective. But this is another good pond, kind of over here close to the dam. You know, you can see the water, or the rock falls off. You can even see it on camera. So literally we can put our hot wire post just 2-3 feet out here. They can have a foot of water that they can have access to, put their head underneath it. We've got, man, probably a couple feet of rock right here, and we've just got a real good area here to drink out of. So I've got lots of frogs. I don't know if you can see those on camera. Can you see that frog? Where is he? I can't even see him. I can see him. Oh, there he went. So love to see the life in the ponds. So one of the early ones that is going to work, but it might just need a little bit of maintenance and cleanup over here. So let me show you the pipe on this dam. Again, out here at Redemption, we've got lots of problems on these ponds, or lots of evidence where cattle have just put a lot of walkways down. This pond, I like it. You can see the bottom, you know, 3-4 feet out there. It's clear. We were just looking at one of the other ponds, one of the last ponds we're going to be doing. It's really muddy and murky, so that makes me think the pond might not be that deep, and it might be really silted in. So that's not a great pond, to be honest with you. So we're going to have to probably redo that whole thing at some point. Not right now. It'll work for this year. I don't know if you can see out there. Yeah, I don't think the camera picks it up. We got a pretty big, good-sized turtle out there in the middle, putting its head out. So the backside of this pond has a pipe that runs through it. You got an overflow pipe that runs through the pond. And look past this dirt here. Let me show you. We've been taking some of the dirt that we excavated out for the rock skirt, and we were dumping it down in here. This has totally been hollowed out down here because this pipe has been broken off. Don't know if it's because of cattle, whatever, but it's been broken off at the base. And what has happened is water was actually cutting back in to the pond, the dam. So over time, obviously weakened it. So we actually have a pipe on order. Should be picking it up this week. We're going to need to run an extension, hook it onto there. Actually need to dig that back a little bit, cut that pipe straight, attach the new, I think we're going to get a 20-foot pipe. So it'll run out there quite a ways. And then we'll fill in the dirt underneath it to support it. That's why we have this here. So this will probably be some shovel work and some shovel work here. The skid steer will be gone, so unfortunately we won't have that. But we'll get that hooked up so we quit damaging the backside of the dam. Because if this was left to go for more years, the water would just erode away the dam, and at some point it'd start leaking and fail. And this runs, this overflow runs into that pond. That pond also, which that pond's in a different pasture, still here part of Redemption. That pond has this overflow, and then it also has this entire hill up here that runs down into it. So I really love the water catching ponds here. They've got a lot, and you can actually see our rock skirt way over there on that pond. So I'm really happy with how these have turned out, especially for starting out. Some of the first ones are a little rough, but they'll work. And so now we're really getting the hang of it. I say we. Skylar's really getting the hang of it, and I'm getting better at picking where we should put him in the pond and setting him up for success. So, but we're trying to get all these rock skirts done today and tomorrow. We're expecting consistent rain over the next week. Rain's in the forecast, and then I'm just trying to really pick which days I guess to start loading the cattle up and get them out here. I need to get out here and kind of set up some paddocks and kind of get my mind wrapped around, once I get out here, rotate them around. So it's just an absolutely beautiful day. Grass has been growing, so it'll really crank up if we get some moisture, and if these evening temperatures start to stay above 50 degrees, the Kansas prairie is going to come to life. So, but the redeeming of Redemption continues. We'll just keep trying to make improvements as we can and keep growing. So that's what we got going on. So thanks a lot for watching, everybody. Hope you're doing well. Do right in the eyes of the Lord, and we'll catch you on the next video. All right, I signed off that video, but we're going overtime here. I was driving out, and this is that rock skirt that I pointed out that I wanted to show you up close, and also wanted to show you what another pipe issue is that we have here. So this is how this rock skirt looks. Like I've mentioned, I don't love the ridges on either side. I think over time those will break down, and it'll get dirt on our top of our rock skirt. But listen, this will be great for the cattle. I am curious. They either drink out of troughs right now, or they drink directly out of a small area of a pond. I think they'll adjust to this just fine. I guess if they're thirsty enough, they'll figure it out. So, well, there's some ducks. Don't know if you can see it on the video. It's pretty bright out here, but really like what this does for us. So here we are. We're out 3 or 4 feet into the pond. Oh, look at that. You can see some, I can't tell because of the glare if you can see those footprints in there from a large bird. So yeah, this skirt comes way out here. So one thing that is not great at all about this pond, I'm going to show you this pipe over here. It's got a bad pipe. It's got a really low pipe, and this pond probably should be higher if it had a bigger pipe that was up higher. Part of the issue with this pond is I just shake my head when I'm going to say this. It's got a 4-inch pipe in it, something you went and bought at the hardware store in town. where on a pond of this size, given we get the overflow from that dam right there on the other pasture, and you get all the downward from that hill up there coming down in here, yeah, it's just appalling. So who knows, if we get a huge rain, this might, water might fill back, which is fine, but it comes out here far enough that I think we'll be okay. Let's come check out this pipe so I can show you what one of our problems here is. Okay, as I'm walking over here, you can see the reality is this dam used to be back over here, and cattle have just walked down here for years. So they've eroded this dam probably at least, it's probably from over here to the water is probably at least 8 feet. Oh, look at that duck. That's cool. Look at that. He's running across. Man, I'll have to look. I don't know if I caught that on video, but he was running while he was flapping his wings. That was cool. I don't know. He was hiding right up in here. I don't know if there's a nest or anything. But look at this pipe. This is awful. Awful. Probably damaged from the cattle stepping on it. Yeah, it's the wrong angle. It's the wrong size. Just a mess. So yeah, it's just a mess. So this pond could hold more water if you had a bigger pipe and the pipe was facing up, so the water level could rise. Let me walk back behind here. And one thing we may do in the future is, that water comes out, and you know what? This is empty and still draining a little bit. So we were catching all that water still. But even down there, I don't know if you can see, there's a looks like what used to be. It's not even a pond. It's almost like there was a dam built and it was broken at some point. But again, I think that could be another spot for a pond at some point, because again, it has the overflow of this pond. It actually has a ridge that kind of a valley that runs down there, and then it still catches some water off of this hillside here. So that could be a great option for another water source in this pasture, because this is the only water source in this pasture, and it's up against this fence, so the cattle will have to graze pretty far away from it, and they'll have to walk all the way back to this pond. So don't love that feature of this pasture. So all right, now I'm going to get out of here. We'll catch you in the next video.